I'm okay saying this. It's been the premier conference in college football. And I know some people don't like that, but the last couple years, the national champion has come from the Big Ten and playing really, really good football. You look at the draft, a lot of guys getting drafted. There's a lot of talent, a lot of big schools. Expansion has made the league better too. I mean, I would argue that too. Like expansion has made this league deeper, more talented. I think it's a debate between the SEC and the Big Ten that we can get into another day, but Brett Bielema will have his own take, and he'll join us in a little bit, and he's fantastic. I've known Brett for a long time. Brent, when you ask him a question, you'll get an answer. Like he's not going to mince words. I absolutely love that about Brett. He's so honest and so straightforward.
Straight shooter. And
Straight
by the
shooter.
way, when you said next episode, did you immediately go back to like early 90s?
That's why I said it. The next episode. Do. Every old man on the broadcast or podcast knows exactly what that means.
Yes, very much went there. But what's interesting, the point you made about the Big Ten, and that's thinking about actually trying to predict what's going to happen this season. The additions of Oregon, USC, and Washington, plus the kind of elevation, a little bit of Indiana and then Illinois with Coach Bielema. That's the depth. Like where it was for that so long, it was just Ohio State and Michigan. And Penn State was there, but they couldn't beat either of those teams. And it was kind of like, but it was mainly those two guys. And now you look through it and you're like, I can see this team getting beat. I can see that team getting beat. Like it's not like it's just that. So that leads me actually to the first question about the conference itself. Oregon last year coming in, going undefeated in the conference.
Slapping people around. My league. This is my league. Welcome to it.
Does anybody break that top three? Or is that top three that we saw a season ago still reign supreme, I think?
So Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State?
Yep. Which, by the way, Ohio State was fourth in the league. Indiana was ahead of them. But
I'm about to say, I mean, because I think if you're doing the rankings and how they finished.
But
there's I was debating when I was looking at this how many teams would make it. And those three names at the top of the list I felt very confident in. Like I didn't need to stretch. Oregon's losing a lot, but man, the recruiting has been great. Ohio State losing a lot. The recruiting has been great. Penn State not losing much at all. So the experience is there and the upgrade to the coaching staff. Even with some change at Ohio State and all that stuff, dude, we kind of know it's plug and play. And so, yeah, those three to me felt very concrete. But I'll say this. The fourth team feels very solid to me too. And Indiana's good. Like, I think Indiana's like, I know Michigan is going to get back to more semblance of Michigan. USC I think is going to have a good year. I think Iowa's going to be solid. Like if that offense does turn around, like I think it has a chance to become better. But like Indiana to me feels like the next team in it. Like I could debate you, but there's a lot of things about that Indiana team that is really, really good. And I feel like the staying power, I don't feel like they're going anywhere.
And especially when you look at their schedule, the first three games, Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. So they're starting 3-0 before they get Illinois at home. I mean, that's just happening. Now, at Iowa, at Oregon, at Penn State this year, as a road schedule versus what they had a season ago, where at Ohio State was really, to me, the only road test that they had. That's one where I think they do take a step back, but are they still in that fourth spot and potentially a playoff team? That's a phenomenal question. I think it's a good debate, and the problem is you got to predict everything else perfectly, which is impossible. But the fact that we're in this conversation with Indiana, they should feel happy. Like the fact that they're a team that we're literally looking at before the season, we're going, okay, I'm pretty sure they're in this playoff conversation. I don't know where they stand. Are they fourth? But here's another thing when you start looking at schedules, and I'm going to say this forever because it's just part of it. When you start looking at the games that are very close and you don't know how to pick them, and it says at, and it says at, and it says at, you can go ahead and mark 2 of those 3 are going to be losses. Like
It's just hard. It's hard to go on the road. It's the hardest thing to do in college football. And those aren't like bad atmospheres. They're going to really good atmospheres. Like those are atmospheres with loud fans that love their teams, that are also good football teams. So now you add in all that together. That's why I think Indiana's right there on that edge. And I think we'll talk about whether we put them into the playoff or not here in a second. But the staying power of Indiana is pretty dang cool with Cignetti. If you're a fan of Indiana, you should be jacked about year 2.